We are now joined by Caren Rodrigues. Caren is a PhD student in business at the Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore and winner of this year's St. Gallen Wings of Excellence Award. Congratulations. Caren, thank you for being with us and granting us some of your time. Your essay was entitled, "Can't Trust Anyone, Risk Aversion Among India's Poor." You state that India's poor avoid investing in any scheme that protects their own welfare, for example, health insurances, even if they could afford it. Isn't that a high-risk attitude, and what are the reasons for such a behavior?
Well, the poor seem to be risk-averse towards investing in their own long-term welfare and security, and this might seem like a high-risk attitude, but in reality, it is more risky for the poor to spend on guaranteeing their financial security than on not doing so. And why is that? Because on one hand, they have to maneuver through extremely complex bureaucracy, which they cannot do. And so therefore, they would need to give bribes to public servants to get what they need. And at the end of bribing 6 or 7 times, there is no guarantee that they will get their insurance at the end. So in that sense, it is more risky for the poor to spend money on pursuing such schemes to no avail than to sit tight with the little money that they have. On the other hand, you have things like NGOs that were supposed to come in and help bridge the gap between these welfare services and the poor. Unfortunately, what has happened in India is that the corrupt in India have discovered that NGOs are a very lucrative way of getting grants and making money illegitimately. So the NGOs are cheating the poor. So in my essay, I spoke of stories of how men have paid into accident insurance schemes, but when they actually met with an accident, they found that the NGO had not completed any documentation at all. So he was not reimbursed at all for his injury. So in that sense, again, it is more risky for the poor to invest in their so-called long-term security, and it's better if they just are content with the money they have in hand.
All right, and in your opinion, what are the major risks that your generation will be confronted with in India, and what can be done to tackle those challenges?
Right. So to my mind, the greatest risk that we Indians face is the risk of disillusioning about 800 million poor people because their trust is being violated at the grassroots, exactly like I described. And so if that is so, millions of poor people are voluntarily excluding themselves from healthcare and financial security. So that is a huge risk because that has, of course, personal ramifications, but also political, social, economic, and so on. So that's the biggest risk we have to face. And what can we do about it? I think there's a very uniquely South Asian perspective to that. In South Asia, even before the freedom struggle, if you might have heard that India is one of the very few countries in the world that got their independence through completely peaceful means. And the way this was done is before we got freedom, we grappled with our own problems. And so the leaders of the national movement said, well, we have problems ourselves. Each one of us has to go out and make a difference. So to my mind, the way we can overcome the problem of the corruption that the poor face is if each Indian who is so-called more fortunate than his poorer people watches at least one poor person's back. And that is what I try to do. You download the forms they need off the internet. You take them through the procedures. You help them maneuver through the bureaucracy. And I think these many little drops of water will make the mighty ocean of societal welfare.
All right, thank you. And what will be your message to the leaders of today attending the St. Gallen Symposium these days? What will be the main message that you have for them?
Right. Again, because I feel so strongly about excluding the poor people from financial security, I think my message would be, first of all, when you consider risk, the way you should be defining risk is in the thought of Mahatma Gandhi, consider who the most vulnerable person who will face the effect of your decision will be, and then based on that, you decide what you're going to do. So that's the first message I have. And the second message is about each person's mission. And I use the words of Prime Minister Nehru. He used these words in the first moments when my country was born. And he said, the ambition of Gandhi, the greatest man of our generation, has been to wipe every tear from every eye. And I'm sure that may be beyond us, he said. But so long as there are tears and suffering, so long our work will not be over.
Thank you for your time and enjoy your stay in St. Gallen.
Thank you.